Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about one nation, one election. Look, this topic is taking a center stage nowadays. There is a lot of discussion about this topic. So in this entire discussion, we would try to understand that why there is so much hype around this topic. We would understand what is this one nation, one election, some of its advantages, some of its disadvantages, and at last we would conclude. So, without wasting our time, let's start our crucial discussion. So, what do we understand by this term one nation, one election? So, basically, the main idea, the main concept behind this one nation, one election is that to hold simultaneously polls for Lok Sabha elections and for the state legislative assembly elections. Look, right now, these things are not happening in a sync. Both of these elections are happening at its point of time, after completion of 5 years of term. So the government is continuously thinking, the present, the NDA government is thinking to implement this one nation, one election. And in order to make this idea, tangible, they formed a very high level committee, which was chaired by former President Ram Nath Kovind, and there were other members, prominent members in that committee like Amit Shah, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and many other prominent figures like Harish Salve. So basically, they submitted its 18,000 pages report, and that report, clearly suggested to implement this idea: one nation, one election, to hold simultaneously polls for Lok Sabha, not for Rajya Sabha, only for Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. Rajya Sabha elections is a different concept, so don't get confused with that. So they clearly suggested this idea of one nation, one elections, followed by local body elections within 100 days. So right now, the present coalition formed government, that is NDA, have to take a call, to implement this idea. NDA government, right from its first term, they are continuously harping on this idea, to implement this one nation, one election. So I would say that in their third term, uh, in their current term, they are surely going to implement this idea. So the implementation is not far away from us. So let's understand some of its positive aspects of one nation, one election. So the first one and the obvious argument is that government is saying that if we implement one nation, one election, then it would save a lot of public money. They are saying that we waste a huge amount of money in holding elections, and that's very obvious thing. 2019, as per the report, 60, I would say 60,000 crores were spent for the elections, and that was the world, most expensive elections in 2019. So yes, actually and factually, we are spending a lot of amount of money for elections. So that's the first argument from the government side and those who support this one nation, one election. The second is that ensure smooth flow of developmental work. Look, government is saying that if elections are coming in any state or at a center level, so that distract a lot of public resources, distract politicians, distract administration, distract security forces, because it hampers developmental work. How? Because before these general elections or state legislative assembly, model code of conduct is implemented by the EC, Election Commission. So in that period of time, approx 2 months for center and 1.5 month for state legislative assembly, EC implement this model code of conduct, and in that period of time, the government get paralyzed. Why? Because they can't implement new policies, new schemes. They can't inaugurate new highway or projects or whatever they want to inaugurate. They can't implement health schemes also. So this completely paralyzed the government. So that's the argument of the government, that if we implement state and central elections at the same point of time, then it would enhance that overall efficiency of the government. So that's the argument from its favor. That is one nation, one election. The third one is that it would reduce the strenuous work of administration. It's rightly pointed out that if we have to conduct elections, then a lot of machinery, a lot of logistics, a lot of polling booth, EVMs are required, and a lot of administrative type of developmental and deployment is also required at that point of time. So it requires it's a mammoth exercise for the administration. So if we implement this one nation, one election, then this exercise would reduce somewhere. Why? Because in the same polling booth, you have to elect your state representative and the central representative. So instead of doing it in patches, it will get implemented, and it will get mm, you know mm, it will get uh, happened at the same point of time. So that's the concept behind it. So these are some of its positive aspects of one nation, one election. Now let's talk about the negative aspects. Opposition is saying that this concept is politically unfeasible, legislatively, and constitutionally unviable, and administratively unworkable. So why they are saying so? Why opposition parties is not supporting this? If this concept is really good, why the entire opposition parties like the Congress, AAP, DMK, why these parties are not supporting it? Let's understand their point of view. Let's understand their concerns. So let's talk about its negative aspects. The first one is that it would, abolish or amend uh, the no confidence motion. Opposition is saying that if we implement this idea, then obviously it will um, it will abolish the concept of non-confidence motion. Why? Because in no confidence motion, if the government is not able to prove its majority, and if uh, there is a lot of anti-incumbency, then obviously any party, the opposition party, can pass this no confidence motion in the parliament, in the state legislative assembly. So after implementing this, they are very concerned for this no confidence motion. So that's their first concern. The second concern is that it would destroy the federal structure and make one party state. Look, if we conduct and if we implement this one nation, one election, then it would somewhere destroy our federal structure. How? Because uh, look, 2014 election, the entire way for the NDA government. At that time, we had one phase for the center, and at that same point of time, if we also conduct state assembly elections also, then that hype would somewhere impact the state legislative assemblies also. People only see the supremo face, like in the Aam Aadmi Party, they just see the supremo face, and they don't know who is their MLA, who is their who will be their MP. Say they will just see the most utmost and the supremo face only, and they will vote uh, uh, for that only. So obviously, it would turn our country into a one party state. So that's the second concern. The third would be that it will reduce the accountability of government about public. Look, both at the current point of time, legislative assembly elections, Lok Sabha elections, and state legislative assembly elections are happening, separately. Look, just an example in Delhi recently, uh, Aam Aadmi Party convener, um, uh, conducted rallies for the MP, and now uh, state legislative assembly elections for the Delhi are scheduled to be held in December or in January or February 2025. So parties continuously campaigning for its sometime for the MP and sometime for the MLA. So they are constantly in touch with the public. So that's a good thing for the public. If they would see their representative faces twice, in sense that for the center and for the state elections, so they get in continuous touch with each other. And if we can implement this one nation one election, they would see their representative once in 5 years. So that is the second concern. The third, that it would uh, it would be very hard for the EC to implement this one nation one election. Suppose if you are doing a work in a certain amount of work in 5 years, and if I'll tell you that you have to do the same amount of work in 1 year, then it would be very hard for you to do that kind of thing. The same is the case with EC. If they have to conduct both Lok Sabha elections and the state legislative assembly elections in just 1 year, then it would be very hard for them to manage it entirely. So that is the fourth concern. The fifth concern is that it would destroy our federal structure and political diversity. The small political parties uh, which are just sprouting at a state level. So if we conduct one nation one election, if we implement this scheme, then obviously it will affect small regional parties. How? Because at the center we have, if we take the example of India, if we uh, look at center level, we have two prominent parties, that is BJP and the Congress. And if one nation one election will be implemented, then obviously these two parties will dominate both center and state level, and that will certainly uh, destroy that new sprouted, new forming political parties. So entire political diversity will get adversely affected by this one nation one election. So right now, so far we have discussed some of its positive aspects, some of its negative aspects. So now it's a time to conclude this topic. In the concluding part, I would say that this one nation one election sounds very good. It's a good idea, but let's see how it will get implemented. But would be the new provisions, how the constitution be amended, how it will get passed in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, because right now we have coalition government in Lok Sabha. So let's see how it will get implemented. And at last, I would like to say that our entire democracy, our entire federal structure, our diversity, and our entire political landscape should remain intact if we implement a new kind of policy, if we implement new scheme. So that should be publicly acceptable. So that's the main concern here. Our democracy is paramount, and we can't tinker with our democracy. We are the world's largest democratic country. So if it will affect our democracy in any way, then we should think twice before implementing such kind of schemes. And if its provisions are really good, we don't know exactly how it will get implemented. So that's the part of our MPs to discuss, to debate on this topic, and let's see how it will get rolled out. So far I have made things easy for you to make your decision, make your own opinion about this topic, and I hope you will search more about this topic. Thank you. Have a good day. That's all from my side.